Hey guys, welcome back to another market overview. We're going to dig in about Madison County, Limestone County, and Morgan County. I'm here with my good friend Steve Payne.
Hey, Zach.
Hey, Steve.
We made it to December again.
We are in December, and we've actually got some good information to share. One of the markets that we were questioning about last month kind of changed this month for the good. And so we're going to talk about that and all the good stuff that's coming. Hey, but before we do that, let's take a quick moment for our sponsors, and hopefully you might need one of them. Here we go.
Hey guys, Tim Knox with Revolved Realty here. You know, our local real estate market is on fire, which means there's never been a better time to sell your home. Revolved Realty is a flat listing fee company, which means we can save you thousands when you list and sell your home with us. In fact, our average clients save over $3,000 in commissions and fees. To find out how much I can save you, give me a call today, 679-0704, or find me on the web at revolved.com.
All right, welcome back. If you need any of our sponsors, please reach out to them and use them. That's what they're there for. So Steve, first off, it's December.
It is.
It is December. And I asked you earlier, and I'm going to ask it again, is we were talking about this last year, how busy we were. And I was saying, is your December this year as busy as it was last year?
And I said it's not, but you know, retiring has a little bit to do with that. I'm not marketing.
True.
And that made a difference.
True. That is very true. Didn't think about that.
Yeah.
You say you're retired, but you're very active out there right now.
Yeah, I'm still.
So it's kind of like that when people say, well, are you going to retire? Well, yeah, I'm going to retire, but I'm not going to stop doing things. Right. And it just opens up a whole nother world for you from being an agent to being an investor. Right.
It does, definitely.
And that's
I did get 3 hours sleep last night.
Did you really?
Yeah.
That's good. Did you play in the snow?
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh, man, we played in it all night. So, well, listen, I know everybody's curious because we were really talking a lot about Limestone County last month and how it had dropped in prices, how the inventory had gone up, and that could be a red flag. But we said, well, let's see what happens in our next show. And so I actually want to jump right into Limestone County.
Let's do it.
And just so that, you know, everybody that might be fence riders and scared can kind of see what we talk about when we say, look, just because in 1 month if the prices go down, that doesn't mean run scared and be, wearied. Let's see what the data says.
Yeah, I was thinking it might have capped out,
but the data today says not.
No, exactly. Right. A rebound.
Yeah. So walk us through some of this data, Steve.
Okay. In Limestone County, now the number of solds did go down.
Yes.
139 compared to 151 from last year. Oh, wait a minute. I'm looking at the wrong one.
Yeah.
154.
Which was in last month.
In November, right.
November.
And it was 162 sold properties in November last year.
A year ago.
Right.
So we went down from a year ago, but the good news is we went up from October, which was when our last show was about, because we were talking about September to October, and we were noticing it was going down. But we actually hit a little bump, and Limestone came back up.
Jumped right back
up? Went from 139 solds in October to 154 solds in November.
Yeah.
Which says, hey, okay, there might have been a little slowdown, but inventory's still moving over there.
Yeah, and in fact, the volume climbed.
Yes.
And the prices back up to where we would have hoped.
And that was really what we were kind of digging into last time, was that we saw the prices going down and inventory going up. And obviously that's not a good sign when you're in a hyper market, right? But it can be a good sign if it continues to do that for investors looking for discounts. But our data today shows that November, it went to 253 versus October of 244. So it climbed.
It did.
And it even is much higher than from a year ago.
Much higher. That was almost $20,000 increase in housing prices from a year ago.
Yeah,
Still,
that's a big bump.
a 12% increase.
And here's the other thing. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, let's see, it was September, it was 247 or 248.
Mm-hmm.
And then it went to 244. And
Right.
now it's above what it was in September at 253, which is more than where Madison County was last month.
Right.
Well, not last month. What was it? October.
October. Right.
Because we made a huge bump in November as well. So that says a lot of good things. So inventory's back moving again in Limestone.
Mm-hmm.
Prices are on the way up. Total volume is on the way up. And also one of the other big indicators we look at is available inventory.
Exactly. Yeah. And see, it's back down to 3.3 months.
Which is the exact same as Madison right now,
Mm-hmm.
county,
Mm-hmm.
where it was pushing almost 4 months.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a big drop from 4 months of inventory to 3.3. That makes a big difference, which is what pushed that price point up.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Do you think a lot of these new sales were a lot of the new construction?
I think that is. I believe most of the prices increases
Yeah.
are from the
all that new
quantity, the number of new construction compared to the old. The old houses still aren't driving, a higher price, a lot higher.
And do you see like the older houses maybe sitting a little longer than the new builds are?
I don't.
Okay.
Everything's selling. The inventory is 3.3.
Right.
So everything's selling. It's just that they're not getting that price. They're not, bumping $100 a square foot.
Right, where the new stuff is.
Definitely. Yeah.
Gotcha. So, I mean, here's where if we had like a flow chart, we would see Limestone kind of going up, up, up. Whoop, it dipped. Now it's back up again.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm still going to kind of keep my red flag up a little bit.
Really?
I am. That's why I love these with you, because we have same visions, but we also look at things different, right?
We do sometimes.
I like that. Because I know you're positive about Limestone, and I'm not saying I'm not. I'm still a little hesitant because I'm wondering if this bump was just a backup from last month.
A breather.
Right. And it was just like, oh, we had all this and it came out, right? Mm-hmm. And so I'm just curious what January, February is going to unfold on this one. So I'm still going to...
Well, I do believe we have established a trend.
Yeah.
And I think there is a trend definitely in Limestone County.
Yeah.
And it's up.
It is up. It definitely is up more than where it was this year starting out. So
yeah,
I'm gonna keep my eyes on Limestone right now. That's one I'm still kind of trying to figure out.
Okay.
All right, let's move into Madison County, which I know a lot of you watching this are curious about Madison County. But here's the thing: if you're in investing at all, trying to just invest in Madison County right now is hard.
Oh,
because everybody wants to invest and they want to invest right where they're at. But this is why we do Limestone in Morgan, because I mean, if you're trying to invest and do some, more than 1 or 2 deals a year, you got to be looking around. You got to be in Decatur. You got to be in Limestone. You got to be in Madison. You got to even be looking in like Gunnersville and Arab. And I got one for you. What do you think about all the new approval of developments that have gotten passed in Meridianville? Because like 2 huge subdivisions just got approval to build on. And I think we saw that happen in Harvest, right? I mean, right. Harvest exploded, and now it's slowed down a little bit. But the only other way that's just open land is here to the Tennessee line going up 231 up into Hazel Green. And look, I got $30,000 more on my property in Hazel Green than I ever expected. But it's like,
that's terrible.
I know that was terrible, right? But my point is for people watching this and they're like, okay, but where should we be investing at? I've got a feeling that like this whole line going to Hazel Green over the next 2 to 3 years is just going to just keep.
Look where the jobs are going.
Yeah.
Toyota, Facebook,
all out that way.
ASI. Is it ASI or ASR?
ASR.
Brand new plant there, just north of the Toyota plant.
Yeah.
And Meridianville, you get on Bob Wade.
Yeah.
Come right over.
Right.
You're there.
Right out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What do you think about Tony? I got a little prediction on Tony.
Tony's still affordable, in my opinion. and it's definitely convenient for those plants. So all those new jobs, there's no question.
So here's my outlook on Tony, because you got Meridianville, Tony, Hazel Green, right? I think that Meridianville is getting massive approvals for subdivisions, and I think they're going to keep them under that 200 range. You know, I think Hazel Green's going to be the same way. I was talking to a couple of builders, a guy who kind of buys the land and curbs it for another major builder. And he was telling me Tony's going to be like another Jones Valley is where they're trying to take it to.
Whoa.
They're trying to like take Tony as this like isolated market that's kind of a little away from everything, build bigger houses on larger lots and kind of make it like this little, you know, like more land, more house. You're going to pay more, but it's going to be its own little thing out there.
I can agree with that, except for maybe infrastructure might be a hang up.
Yeah.
Because like right now, Newmarket is tough because it's the traffic.
Yeah.
But they are supposedly widening that road all the way to Newmarket.
Yeah. I thought that was interesting, though. I mean, I could see Tony totally turning into an upscale little area, you know?
Especially if they widen something.
If they widen some infrastructure. And you made a really good point, is if they built the infrastructure to sustain that, right?
Exactly.
Because if not, they're all going to have to drive into Meridianville or head up into Hazel Green. And, you know, it's not, I mean, Meridianville is great, but it's not like it has this huge infrastructure, right? Hazel Green has done more on its infrastructure than Meridianville has. If you've been out there lately. Have you been out there lately?
I haven't.
You wouldn't, I mean, it's crazy what they've done out there.
Really?
So
Awesome.
All right, Madison County, though. So talk us through the data, Steve.
Okay, Madison County is same old, same old. If you watch last month's video, you're about to hear the same thing.
Yep.
The this month jumped
We sold
up.
less inventory, though.
Yeah. We had 663 last month in inventory. I'm talking about October.
October's data.
And then in this period, we sold 541.
In November.
Which means that it drove the inventory up a bit because not as many houses sold.
Yep.
So it went from 2.9 months to 3.3.
But you know, this is a little bit of an anomaly. As much as I have watched data over 16 years, is usually when the inventory goes up, prices go down. But it didn't do that.
Not this time.
It did not do that. It went up over almost $10,000 from $248 in October to $257 in November.
It did almost.
And
10,000.
that is not normal.
The average price.
Yeah, that is not normal.
No, but it's also kind of characteristic that, you know, there wasn't that many houses still. We're still well below 6 months.
Oh, yeah.
And so there's, you know, the people. I just saw a house on Gayhart for $50,000. It wasn't a foreclosure, but that was a good deal. Yeah. It was on the market 4 days.
4 days.
And it was priced $50,000, which is an awesome price. I bet they had multiple offers.
Oh,
but
I'm sure.
I didn't talk.
I'm sure. That's like these auctions. When we go down to not the public auction at the courthouse, but these private auctions, I hardly see any investors there anymore. It's usually homeowners or agents representing homeowners. And it's like, golly, like, you know, like this is why even these auction houses are getting increased.
They are. Yeah, they're doing a lot more auctions now.
Yeah. You know, it's not like it was back then when you'd show up and there's 3 people there.
Yeah. Well, you know, I don't know if everybody knows the difference between a court-ordered auction or an absolute auction.
Well, share with us.
An absolute auction, they're going to take the maximum offer. Doesn't matter.
Oh, an absolute auction. Yeah, I got you what you're saying. Like whatever the highest bid is what goes.
What goes.
Yep.
So I think you'll see investors show up at those.
Yes.
And then the court-ordered auctions are the same thing. They're going to take the highest bid. It doesn't matter how low that highest bid is, unless there's nobody there, and then they're going to cancel the auction.
Yeah.
But otherwise, they're going to take the highest bid.
So on an absolute and a court order, they take it.
Right.
No, and then there's the other type that you might
Reserve.
have won the bid, but you didn't. And sometimes you don't even know what the reserve is.
No, usually
And
not.
you're like, I won, and then you get a phone call or an email that says, no, we didn't meet our reserve.
Didn't meet the reserve.
I hate those.
They put it back up for auction again.
I know. I hate those. I've gotten a couple of those emails. So
I think that's why you're not seeing investors. If they hate them too, because there's a reserve, and if they don't meet the reserve, they're dead.
Well, and you know what? Something else I want to talk about real quick before we move into Morgan County was last time we were sitting here, we were talking about average profits on deals, and you were saying like, hey, look, if I can get 10 to 15 on a deal, I'm doing it. Mm-hmm. Well, since then, I've been asking everybody, like, really? Hey, what are you looking for in a deal? What are you looking for in a deal? What are you looking for in a deal? And the people that are doing, 5, 8, 10, 20 deals a year, they're all saying the same thing.
I believe that.
They're all saying, they're like, look, Zach, if I can get 10 to 15, I'm doing the deal.
Right.
It's the new people coming into the market that are saying, well, I'm looking for 20 to 30. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, well, that's great. How many are you finding like that? And they're like, well, I haven't found one yet.
Son of a gun.
Oh my God. Like, if you find one, you let me know.
Yeah.
But it goes back to what you were saying. Like, when the competition's high, your profits go down. When competition is low, your profits go up. But it also goes back to where you're getting the lead from, right? I mean, if you're direct to seller and it's not been exposed, it's a little bit different. But when you got everybody and their mom on it, I mean, you got to be willing to be, you got to be willing to pull back on your profits.
Flexible.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I mean, you got one indicator. What's the expected profits on that one? Or is that a good one? Or
yeah, it's a good one. I definitely hope to make 40 grand on it. But
that's good. But
I'm sitting on it, and it's not selling.
Right.
Which is, I guess I need to drop the price and start taking away from some of the profit. But
well, you got enough in that one to do it.
The appraiser that went out and looked at it, he says, I don't see why this house hadn't sold.
Yeah.
So that's encouraging.
Yeah. Well, and it's almost like it's that time of the year, It's like I've got several vacancies on some of my apartments, and I was talking to the management company about it, and they're like, well, it's December. I was like, all right. I said, I'm just not going to worry about it. I'm not going to look at it. January, though, you can bet I'm calling you. Like, I'm calling in January. So our overall vision on Madison is it is December. Inventory sales are down, obviously, and that's pretty predictable. If we went back 10 years, we'd probably see the same thing. Right. Prices are going up. Inventory went up. I don't think we're going to continue with a 3.3. Yeah. I really don't.
I don't either. And the prices are $257. If I didn't mention that yet, the average prices in Madison County,
that's
compared
crazy.
to Limestone, is $253.
I know, but here's where I start saying, man, how much further can we push that number? Like, how much? You know what I mean?
I think it's a function of inventory. I do.
Yeah, but at some point, there's going to be where people just can't afford. Mm-hmm. Like, there's an affordability index, and it's like, look, these homes, I mean, look at 35810. I was reading a report. Its average now is like 95 to 100. That blows my mind.
Yeah.
Like, that blows my mind.
Yeah, it is.
So
it is. So the affordable houses are less and less and less. Yep. And you're right. There are people that can't afford to buy, to spend more than $1,000 a month on a mortgage.
Right. Yeah, I mean, look, even though we have a very good economy and we have very good jobs, we still have the normal standards for Alabama. We still have a lot of people making less than $30,000 a year. I mean, that's a large group of our population. They can't just be running into these 150, 200, 250 houses. For them, that's a luxury home.
Yes, it is.
And that's tough. I mean,
maybe in 10 or 20 years. Yeah.
Yeah. Moving up, right? Just stepping stones getting up into where they need to be. But to the point, I mean, it's less and less of these $90,000 to $125,000 houses. They're far in between. And when you find them, they're in the neighborhoods that some people just don't want to live in. Mm-hmm. They don't want to raise their family in it, right? Where before you could go get them in another area where there's a great school zone. Now you're having to sacrifice school zone to get to the price that you want, or you just say, look, I'm not buying, I'm going to go rent over here. Mm-hmm. And that's another indicator why rents have gone up so much, I believe.
I think so.
Yeah. That's like, I got a house over by the country club. I ran all my numbers at $800 a month. It's a 3-2, nice little ranch brick. I ran everything on $800 a month. Turn it over to management, they got $1,000 a month.
I believe that. That's what I was wondering.
$2,400 extra a year.
Right.
Which obviously my numbers were good at 800. They're even better at 1,000. But it was just, I was shocked. I really was. I did not expect that property to rent for $1,000. Mm-hmm. Did not. Mm-hmm. But, I'm not really in the house business of renting. I mean, I could tell you what apartments will rent for all day long. But anyways, that was a nice little surprise. So if you're out there, just keep up with rents in your houses, because I'm sure if you've had a tenant in there forever, you better be resetting those leases.
Yes, indeed. If you're not raising the rent 8% per year.
Oh, I know, especially right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy. That's like, I got an apartment that we just finished up 2 apartments out in Decatur, and I ran all my numbers at $525. Uh-huh. We redid everything in these apartments, so electrical, plumbing, everything. And management came out and said, "Oh, we're going to be $600 to $650." I was like, "What?" I was like, "Wow, that's great." I was like, "That's perfect. I love it." Now it's like, okay, well, now fill it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, get me those numbers.
Yeah.
Let me see.
Show me.
Right. I'm from the show me state. Show me. So, but all of that just says everything is really good. I mean, Madison's doing great right now. I think January we're going to see inventory sales go back up. I think we'll see inventory go down January and February. And I think it'll just keep doing that all the way until we get into the peak, which is, June, July, August, all the way through. What's your prediction on this 257, though, for Madison County? You think it's going to start getting closer to 280 as we move through the year?
I do, because as long as that inventory remains low, we've been averaging 8 to 12% increases this year, and probably last year as well.
Yeah, it was 11%.
And, that's kind of where the most houses are, is in Huntsville.
Yeah.
As long as that keeps climbing, as long as that inventory stays low.
Can you imagine our market with an average of 280?
And there's how many new jobs did I say? I said last month.
Yeah.
It's like 17,000 new jobs coming.
Listen, I heard 5,000 a year for the next 5 years just for the base.
Yeah, I did hear 5,000 for the next year. I didn't know.
They were saying it was 25,000 new jobs were coming in for the base by 2025.
So that's why they're widening Ride Out Road.
That's why all that's getting. Madison. Think about it. We went through this with BRAC, remember? Mm-hmm. It was like almost $1 billion got put into our infrastructure from the base to widen roads and add bridges and.
Well, that saved us, didn't it?
Oh, man. I think that was the catapult to where we are today.
I do too.
I really believe that move is what allowed us to be where we are right now in the market that we're in. So, all right, well, let's dig into Morgan County for all of our folks over in Decatur or looking to invest in Decatur.
Okay, Morgan County, holding steady. The inventory has, gone up slightly. No, it's still 3.8.
Oh, no, yeah, it hovered right at the same.
Yeah, everything's the same. The average sale price last month, October, is $178. The average sale price this month of November, past month, is $174.
So, it dropped a little bit, but not anything to be crazy about. No. But we saw, Morgan County and Madison County did the exact same thing. We sold more in October than we did in November. Morgan County did the same thing, which is, by the way, I just want to put this out. As long as I've been watching this data, me and Steve have been talking about this kind of data, that's a common thing. Mm-hmm. December, it does. it does kind of shift. That's why I'm saying to you that I'm not sure about Limestone, because it's not following a common trend. And I'm thinking that was backed up inventory that just got put out, or things weren't getting closed in October and then they pushed into November.
That might be the case, yeah.
That's why I'm saying that. And I think January, February will help me make a better decision on Limestone.
Right. You're very right.
Okay, so we see this prices still hovering around the 175 to 178 range. Inventory didn't budge.
And the number of solds, it's up from last year. It's 114 versus 96. But it was last month in October. I keep calling it last month.
Yeah, no.
It was 130 sold properties, and now it's 114.
Right.
So
let me ask you a question. Is there a way to pull the average days on market per county?
I'm sure it's possible.
Because, that would be useful on this sheet if it's able to get on here. Because then we could look at where it was the days on market in October,
that would be really useful.
To kind of say like, well, our property's taking longer to sell this month versus last month. I mean, I don't know if that's something that you can add on your sheet, but
it would be hand added because they don't have it in the statistics.
The report?
Right.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, look, Morgan County's holding strong.
Right.
I think if Morgan County starts pushing over 200,000, I think that's where we're going to see some issues in Morgan County.
The thing about Morgan County is that the bang for the buck, if you want,
I know.
If you want to spend if you don't want a $250,000 house, you can get the same house over in Morgan County for.
Yeah, and I've seen that over and over again over there. Especially like even a little bit out in the Hartselle area. I mean,
Hartselle's awesome.
Oh man, we just put one. Me and Scott put one out there, and beautiful home. I mean, this thing's beautiful. It's sitting on about an acre's worth of land. 4-bedroom, 3-bath. I mean, completely remodeled. I mean, he texted me last night. He's like, "We got like 5 offers on it already." I was like, "That's awesome." But there again, that same house over here would be like $280,000, right?
Yeah, right.
And over there, it's closer to 200. With the land and all the rooms, you couldn't get the same deal here. But I think that's where people are going to Hazel Green for right now. I really do. I mean, Hartselle, Hazel Green, Harvest used to be like that, which is not anymore. It blew up over there. But I really, I'm going to stick to my guns and say, look, next 2 years.
And the Hazel Green High School.
Oh, it's a good school.
It's rated to be really highly.
Yep.
Hartselle's always been considered one of the best in the state as long as I can remember.
Oh, really?
And that alone would account for Hartselle.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I knew about Hazel Green. His school system was really good. I mean, it's a county. It's not city, it's county. But yeah, I know lots of people that are like, look, I'm taking my kids out of the city.
I want Hazel Green.
I'm moving them into Hazel Green.
Right.
So all my cousins that are here in the Madison area all went to Hazel Green High. And so, yeah, it's a good school. I do know that. All right.
A point I would like to make, though, is that, they're supposed to be widening I-565 because the traffic's pretty bad in the mornings and in the evenings.
Yeah.
If they do widen that thing, look out for Hartselle. Look out for Decatur. Because the traffic is the number one hang-up, I think, for people that work in Huntsville.
100%. And I'll tell you why. Because I'm sure you're aware, but the Decatur RIA turned into an all-women's RIA. And I was asking some of the ladies at our Madison group, are they going out there? And they were like, look, Zach, we'd love to go, but it starts at 6. And for us to get off of work here at 5 and then fight that traffic out there, they're like, it's just impossible. So we're now moving the Decatur RIA to a later start time.
Oh, that's a good idea.
To cater to the...
Even 6:30.
Yeah, just to cater to the ladies here that don't want to fight that traffic.
Right.
But that's to your point, right? It's like... Getting from here to there during rush hour traffic is a nuisance.
And last I heard, they're going to widen it this 2020.
You're going to widen it.
That's what I heard.
That would open up a big opportunity for Decatur.
It would.
If Decatur would, because do you remember, what was it? was it 8 years ago? Huntsville went to Decatur and wanted to do that, wanted to like say, hey, let's open this up, let's grow together, and Decatur shut them down. Was like, no, we're not interested. So they went towards Athens. So now Decatur's back on the plate saying, yeah, we need to join up with you guys and open this up.
I haven't heard that story. That's news to me. I didn't know.
I couldn't believe it, man, because you could see where the development was heading and then it just stopped. And then boom, next thing you know, 72 to Athens just blew up.
Did you say several years ago?
It was like 8 years ago.
8 years ago.
Yes.
Well, yeah, there was a different government in Decatur at the time.
Oh, yeah. Like it was like, no, we're not joining forces with you.
I know.
We want you guys out of here.
Right.
And I just remember when I heard, I was like, that is about the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. But then you look at 72, what happened, because that's where, Huntsville and Madison said, well, we'll just focus over here. So it's good to hear that Decatur's back on the board. I think that is where Decatur's been missing the boat.
They're pro-business, much more so now
Than 8 years ago.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's awesome. All right. So overall, Madison's still strong. We're still pushing forward.
Overall, the whole thing's still strong.
Well, I'm going to challenge you on Limestone.
Really? Okay. All right. Yeah.
I'll lean more into your outlook on Limestone after January and February. I want to see what those 2 months do.
I understand that.
Decatur, Morgan County, I think is still just plugging right along like they have been. So overall, guys, this is the data. Data don't lie. I think we're still doing good. I think where you guys will be benefited from this show is when we're really starting to see some serious red flags. When we start seeing serious red flags, you're going to see me and Steve really on the same page going, look, this isn't good. Like, this is not good. That means it's time to reassess our investing strategy, not be so capital injected heavy, but we don't see any. I don't see any of that. Even with me being, the devil's advocate here on Limestone, I'm not saying that that's the case. I'm just saying I want to see some more data is all. Right. That's it. Okay, guys. Well, listen, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for another show. Thanks, Steve, for being here. Appreciate this show, man.
Enjoy it.
I mean, this show is one of my favorite shows, digging into the data. So, hey, this is Market Overview with Zach Childress and Mr. Steve Payne, and I'm sure we'll see you at a RIA meeting. If you haven't been out to one, join us. Come out, see what we're all about. If not, share this video with anybody else that might be getting into real estate and trying to understand what this market is really doing. Thanks, guys. Zach Childress. I'll see you soon.
See ya.